What's up, guys? Amster Knows Hoops back today with another video. And today I am talking about my top 10 shooting guards in the NBA. Part 2 of 5, obviously, or I guess 6 if we count overall players in the league. And today we are going to be going over again who I think the best shooting guards are in the league. I try my best to go off again stats, what I've seen of them. Obviously, some of it's going to be biased in there. We're humans. But let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. And as always, let's get to 800 subs and then chug our way to 1K. So, starting off here at number 10, I have Anthony Simons, averaging 23, 4, and 6. 43 from the field, not great. 39 from 3 on 9 a game, so that's elite. Like, he's a very elite three-point shooter for sure. And 92 from the line. He only goes to the line 4 times, but again, I mean, either way, he's like an 87% career guy. So, my thing for Anthony Simons, I think, first of all, I think his time in Portland is probably going to come to an end if I had to take a bet. Just because, if I remember correctly, he's 25 now. Your team is getting seemingly younger and younger. And he could be worth something to help contribute to your rebuild. Teams like Orlando would love to get a scorer like him. I think he's a great scorer. I just don't think he contributes a whole lot else for me personally. I don't think he's terrible at other things. Mine is defense in part. It's because of his frame. That's my sort of struggle with Anthony Simons, but he's going to stay at number 10 for me. At number 9, I've got Bradley Beal. Now, I guess I should probably address this first. I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, well, Imster, where's guys like, Levine or, some of those guys just didn't make my list. I'm going to be honest. I'm at a point. I'm not going to tax for injuries for sure, because I just think even with Simons, he only played 43 games. But at some point, if you're a younger guy and you're still playing pretty well, I'm going to just take it, because if you're an older guy like a Beal, my only thing is I prefer Bradley Beal to Simons as a passer, playmaker. Like, offensively, I prefer Beal. I mean, he gives you, this season, he gave you 18, 4, and 5 on 51 from the field, 43 from 3, and 81 from the line. Again, I don't think he's anything incredible. I want to go out of my way to be like, we need Bradley Beal if we want to win. And I'm not even saying that just because of this. This Suns team just wasn't well constructed anyways. But I think his inabilities at times to even just show up as the third scoring option shows his limitations. So, to me, I got Bradley Beal at 9. And then I think there's a little bit of a gap with these next names coming up here on the list. At number 8, I have Tyler Herro. I'm someone that's been higher on Herro throughout my time, not even just on NBA YouTube, but in Discords and stuff, because I remember back in the day, after the Warriors won in 2022, being told explicitly about how Jordan Poole was just better than Tyler Herro. And I tried to warn everybody of no, Poole is able to get away with a lot more because he's in a system that doesn't require him to have the ball in his hands a whole lot, versus Herro, who, when Jimmy or Bam or whoever is hurt, which unfortunately, even including himself, is frequent, he has to be a primary creator, facilitator, whatever. And I don't think he's incredible at it, but I've always valued what he's brought to a decent level. I think his injuries are starting to become a bit of a concern for me, just in terms of the frequency of them, and then how it then seemingly hurts their ability to make the playoffs. Now, this year, he did play in the playoffs, and he was awful. Just atrocious. I mean, the only thing that was nice about his is 35 from the 3 on 9 a game, which isn't really that good, but also isn't horrendous. It's just, I think at this point, they should have moved on from Herro. I believe he's also 25. If he's not, he's 24. Yeah, he's 24. So he'll be turning 25 this year. I think he's fine. He's solid. I prefer him, honestly, as a facilitator. And I think he's a good enough scorer. I honestly, a lot of these dudes, for me, after the top 6 in the shooting guards, you're just at a point where things are so murky where I'm not even going to waste my breath debating someone on like, oh, Beal should be 7. Oh, okay. That's fine. If that's what you value, that's what you think, that's cool. Then I've got Desmond Bane at number 7. Desmond Bane actually impressed me a little bit this season. I know the Grizzlies sucked. And part of that is due to just, I'm not going to lie, I've never seen a team be this injured in my entire life. Like, in any sport. Like, the amount of games where they had to just run a whole bunch of different nonsense just because was, like, wild to me. I will say, so Bane averaged 24, 4, and 6 on 46 from the field and 38 from 3 on 9 a game, which is really good. I think Beal impressed me a little bit. Obviously, now part of this is because Ja's not there and everything, but I think he showed to me that he is a decent to good playmaker, passer, facilitator. On top of already being, I think, a really good scorer and especially an elite shooter. So for me, I've always had Beal and Bane kind of, or not Beal, my apologies, Hero and Bane close. But I think right now I'm taking Desmond Bane, but I think it's pretty close. Like, again, it's one of those things you could argue either one. He's 26, right? But he's still always shown for me progressive improvement. I mean, obviously not as big of a jump as his first year with the 9-point jump, but then he's basically gone up 3 to 4 points every season thereafter. So then coming in at number 6, I have Paul George. Now, if you consider him a small forward, that's fine. It's weird because obviously when you look at his listing, obviously he plays a small forward, but when he's on teams with other guys, there's a Kawhi, there's a what. I always feel like he naturally kind of slips back into those first couple of years in Indiana. And even like later in Indiana, if I remember correctly. Hold on. I can actually look at his, like, he starts to slip into the 2 spot more if there's more of a chance for him to do so. For me, I think Paul George in the playoffs sort of bothered me. He didn't really play that well. This was his first playoffs in 3 years, and in part due to injuries and all that. The defense is still good. I think in general, age is catching up to him, which, by the way, is fine. I mean, it's human. It's natural. And if you have this guy up one spot over my next pick, that's fine too. I don't really care. I really appreciate Paul George, and I think we all should at this point in his career. I just don't think he's a top 5 shooting guard anymore, or he's very close. But at number 5, I have Kyrie Irving. Now, again, if you followed my channel for a long time, you would know I am not very high on Kyrie Irving. I've always thought people have held him in regards in conversations. So, for example, I think a lot of people on like a Twitter or an Instagram, whatever, would be like, oh, he's a top 3 shooting guard today. I don't really think he's close to those combos, personally. And it's in part because the bag and his moves, and it's so, visually appealing. And that's fine, and that's well and good. But even in these playoffs, I think it sort of proved my point. Like, so to end his playoffs, right, he averaged 22, 4, and 5, 47 from the field, 39 from 3, and 85 from the line. So I'm sure you're probably thinking, Emster, those are incredible numbers. My thing is though, if you watched a lot of these playoff games, you would sit here, like the OKC series, he was not very good. Like, he just, point blank period, not good. You look at his finals, not good. Like, he was literally half and half, basically. He was really, really good in the Minnesota series, and he was really, really good in the Clipper series. And to me, he was just almost non-existent in Oklahoma and in Boston. Like, when you're that every other game, whatever, and like even in those games, like there were stats showing about like how he would basically be a 1/2 player. And it's not even a consistent, like, oh, first half Kyrie, second half Kyrie. Like, it'll be like either the first half, he's nuclear and he gives you like 20 to 25. That's exactly what happened in game 1 against the Timberwolves. He gave them like 20 to 25 in the first half, scored like 5 in the second half altogether. But the way that the media and stuff will talk about it, you would think that he had a 30 ball or 30-35 ball where he was dropping, 8 to 10 every quarter. And it got to, it's no, like he loaded up his numbers in one half. And then another half, he would just disappear and it would hurt the Mavs because at that point, Luka has to do even more. And then at that point, when that other half comes along, Luka's going to be more gassed. Guys might be out of rhythm. So be it. Now, again, it's not all Kyrie's fault. But at the same time, I think my issues with him sort of showed themselves again. Then I have Jaylen Brown, current Finals MVP, won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Averaged in the regular season 25, 5, and 4, or 6 and 4. In the playoffs, he averaged 24, 6, and 3 on 52 from the field, 33 from 3, and 66 from the line. I don't know what the hell's on with this free throw. I'm gonna be real. That man looks like Giannis out there sometimes, except he doesn't take 40 minutes to put the free throw up. I think JB has concretely secured his spot in the top shooting guards list. I think my issues with him is I feel like this is just who JB is at this point. I think he's, by the way, personally, for me, I think he's the third best defender on the Celtics, only because I think Porzingis at times, either due to health or just how he plays, his defense at times isn't always consistently there and is really only there when he's playing against guys consistently undersized or don't have the power to attack him with. But to me, I think in this series, in the finals, JB showed like what I can do when you put your best player on me. Now, obviously, they're still going to score. This is just how it is. But I'm going to make them work. And they're going to be gas on that other end. And they're going to be gas trying to get the ball. I'm not letting this dude breathe. Now, again, the passing and playmaking at times, still an issue for sure. That last game in the finals still showed Jaylen Brown has ways to go, if he ever even does. But I think at this point, Jaylen Brown is a really freaking good player. I think at times people overrate him a little bit. Like, I don't think he's better than Tatum. I don't think he's the best player on the Celtics. I think he has moments where he is, and in part, that's due to him exceeding his own standards and Tatum falling under his. But I think having that kind of number 2 guy is awesome. Then at number 3, I have Anthony Edwards. I've actually grown to love more and more with each season. It's not even just because of their success. It's because I'm learning just to appreciate his game more. Anyways, giving you 26, 5, and 5. About steal and a half. Dude's 22. I think he's probably turning 23 soon. Yeah, he's turning 23 here in like a month. If there's one thing I think Anthony Edwards can do, and I think it could solidify him as a top 10 player in the league, top 15, whatever. If you improve your reads and your passing and your playmaking, you would be so unstoppable. That's my thing. Some of those reads, especially against the Mavs, were so bad. And the worst part was, it wasn't like they were hard reads either. It wasn't like, oh, they doubled him in, the far right corner of the court. His vision is blocked. Like, I've shown it before, like in I think it was discussing game 2 or game 1 of the first 2 games in Minnesota. Jaden McDaniels, wide open on the wing. Not a soul near him. Ant stops, spins, sees him, and goes, I'm going to give it to Naz Reid with like 3 people near him, and the ball goes out of bounds. Moments like that are like infuriating because you know he can do it. So I think that if there's anything going into the offseason that Ant really wants to work on, if I'm, his trainer, coach, whatever, people that help him out, that's what we're working on. We're working on our reads, whether it's through film watching, through whatever. That's where I think his game goes to the superstar caliber guy. That's where I think he can be like above the rest in this, position as the best guy in the position. But for now, and especially considering how the second half of his playoffs went, now I do think a big part of it is for sure the nasty fall he took. But man, he was hooping, man. He was hooping. Number 2, I got Devin Booker. I had Devin Booker actually number 1 last year. And I've always said to me, when you go to the top of these positions, some of them I feel like are like, you got a pretty decent gap between 1 and 2 and then everybody else. But like, this is the position, and maybe small forward too, where I could see these next 2 names being given, and I'm not mad if you said either one. I wouldn't even necessarily be mad if you said Ant. I just think you would have to be hyper valuing some things. So Booker this year averaged 27, 5 and 7 on 49 from the field, 36 from 3, and 89 from the line. And then the playoffs, he averaged 28, 49 from the field, 35 from 3, 95 from the line. I think Booker's on a situation now where, honestly, first of all, I think he's actually drastically improved as a passer playmaker throughout his career. Even just looking at him handling doubles against Minnesota compared to when he had to deal with it versus the Mavs 2 years ago. But I think you've reached, I think Booker is great. I just think my number 1 is just this much marginally better. And I think it's clear Booker should not be your primary playmaker, passer, decision maker. Just because it hinders his game a little bit. It's just not him, which is fine. I think that's the other issue. I think whenever you say that about a player, guys get so defensive. Like, fans get so defensive. And that's a thing that needs to change in the NBA. Just because you're saying a guy can't do something or shouldn't be doing something doesn't mean that they're trash or they're ass or they should never be playing in the league. It's just saying they have their limits and we move. And the number 1, I've got Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to be real. He was on a hot seat for me personally going into these playoffs just because his playoffs, basically since like the 2 bubble years, I'm like, man, these playoffs aren't really all that, crazy. I mean, the dude averaged in the playoffs 35 and 5 on 48 from the field, 35 from 3, 82 from the line, and he played against really, 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 really freaking good defenses. The Magic are no joke of a defense. The Celtics, I mean, they're the freaking champs. Incredible defense. And he still performed against these caliber teams. I think he's in a situation. I don't like him in Cleveland. Nah, I think he's gonna stay. But it feels like the Jazz all over again. You have some really good defensive bigs. They have perimeter defense help. They don't really have another wing to help out. And Garland is... Darius Garland, bro. Brother is mid. All right. But regardless, I think at the end of the day, D. Mitch is the best shooting guard in the NBA, but I think it's so close. And I think, depending on how next year goes, I could be flipped again. And maybe if Ant does what I talked about, I'm like, nah, bro. I just got Ant 1, and I'm pretty comfortable with just him being 1 for the next however many years of his career. So let me know what you guys think down below. So, again, just to remind you guys, my top 10. So I had Simons at 10, Beal at 9, Hero at 8, Bane at 7, Paul George at 6, Kyrie at 5, JB at 4. Goodness, I just blanked. Ant at 3, and then Booker at 2, and Donovan Mitchell, for me, is the best shooting guard in basketball. But damn, it is close. As always, guys, let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Share it with your friends. Have a dialogue about it. Let me know what you think down below. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. This was Mr. Knows Hoops. Peace out.